So July 16th, 2015, and another four Marines gave their lives for their country in Chattanooga at a recruiting station, Chattanooga, and a naval reserve center. Um, Basically, the problem is the Posse Comitatus Act, which was passed, I don't know, by Rutherford Hayes in 1878, a long time ago. Basically says you can't use, the military as a domestic law enforcement police force, you know, and so somehow that has been interpreted to they can't carry guns to defend themselves at a recruitment center, which is a soft target. And in the world we live in today, uh, you know, all they could do is just what are they supposed to do? Throw a pen at some ISIS lone wolf sympathizer? So this is just you know, it, it's not a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act for a Marine in a recruitment center to have a gun for self defense. I mean, they're not on a base where there is at least some MPs who could do something, and nobody's going to drive up to a base where there's armed MP, But I mean, if somebody is an ISIS sympathizer, I mean, there's absolutely nothing to stop them from shooting up every recruiting station. You know, they're not armed. So how are they supposed to defend themselves against anybody? uh, all they have is a pen, and if other people are armed and they're not, uh, then it just seems that this is the perfect soft target for ISIS, lone wolf types in America. And this is just gun control gone berserk because uh, if we can't trust Marines in a recruiting center to act responsibly with their firearms, I mean, who can we trust? You know, is there anybody out there that we could trust? I mean, the police were there very quickly. They're just, within a mile from a police station. But the bottom line, it just goes to prove, you can't, the police are not there to protect you. You have to protect yourselves. And this is just, a perfect example. And I don't think anybody, I don't think that anybody's going to, from Congress or the government, is going to come out and, you know, basically, even in the face of four dead Marines, they're not going to, give uh, the Marines or the military, people that do recruiting, any right to defend themselves. They're not going to do that. They're going to come out and say a few meaningless words and get some FaceTime on TV. And, it's going to be the same old shit. It's like these politicians think they know better than the founding fathers, So I don't think they've ever, any of them, I don't, how many people in Congress have actually read the Federalist Papers? Any probably like, less than 1%. And if you ask them to list the Bill of Rights, they probably, or all the amendments to the Constitution, they probably couldn't do that. They swear to defend it, but they don't know what it is. So, well, we can understand that the Posse Comitatus Act, you don't want the military acting as a police force. I have no problem with that. Well, how does that, what does that have to do with them just being able to defend themselves in a recruiting station? I mean, this is not 1776. Back then, the countries that we were worried, the attacks we were worried about were, countries with navies that could have troops. But here we have the world has changed, And um, you know, but one thing that has not changed is our Constitution, and each person is responsible for defending themselves. The the police, I mean, the government is responsible for defending the nation as a whole. The police are responsible for enforcing laws, but each and every person is responsible for their own defense. You can't. There's nobody that's going to save you if some uh, lone wolf ISIL person or a group of ISIL supporters decide you're in their soft target area. If you can't defend yourself, you're dead. And so I'm just tired of all these liberal lefties, not liberals, just leftists, people that haven't read the Constitution, people who got elected, by virtual appointment by the Democratic Party, who refuse to allow even Marines in a recruiting station the right to defend themselves by, carrying a weapon, a firearm. It just pisses me off to no end. So whichever Republican, I got to tell you, I don't even think the Republicans are going to be able to do anything about this, but uh, you know, things in Congress just tend to move, or I don't think anybody in Congress can get anything right, but I don't know. I'm gonna go look and see if anybody is listening out in the chat and has any comments out there. But I mean, if we, hey, maybe the recruiting station aren't your favorite Marines out of all the Marines that are out there, but they do their job and they've got a right to defend themselves. And it's just our country doesn't understand why it was founded in the first place. They've forgotten. The politicians have forgotten what America means or what it is. And the more people we get here that that immigrate here that aren't required to learn what America means, but I can't fault them. The idiots in Congress, the politicians that got elected, they swear an oath to defend the Constitution, and they don't know what it means. So I don't blame the ISIS terrorists as much as I blame Congress. You have 4 dead Marines screaming for a right to defend themselves. And, I don't know. See if I could figure out how to work my own YouTube page here. See if anybody out there has any comments besides on gun channels. This will be on gunchannels.com, gunchannels.com/HVS. And I don't know if they're going to put it in the lobby chat but you can sign up and join that and chat on there. All right, I'm going to open up a separate page. Okay, I see Dirt Dart out there. He's used to be a Marine, I think. He might have an opinion on this. So if he comes on, maybe he'll, actually have some experience. I mean, I know most of the Marines. I mean, I'm not ex-military, but I mean, it just seems like any Marine who went through basic training would have, if you got 4 Marines, there would have been 1 dead gunman before there were 4 Marines, armed Marines, showing up with whatever. And so I know I'll give Dirt Dart a minute to figure out how to show up. And he does the Friday Fix, where he talks about just, who bought a new gun or what contests are on the YouTube channels and the YouTube gun community. So I don't know who the shooter is. All I know is that he's dead. But I blame Congress. I mean, our idiot politicians. If it's like it's not as bad as land. If you put a Marine in danger, you have to give them a rifle or some way to defend themselves. And the world we live in, these are the soft targets, and it's a very good soft target because Congress doesn't let them, carry guns to defend themselves. So anybody, who thinks that ISIS is actually a good thing because they're insane to think that. But if they want to shoot up some military people, some Marines or some Army or some Navy, and it was also not just the Marines recruiting. It was at a Naval Reserve Center, I think, a recruiting station there, and that's where the shooter died. I haven't seen any information on who the shooter is, but you can see all those little blue cones where I guess the casings are, and quite a few bullet holes. And I just think that if 4 Marines had any kind of pistol, they would have ended it. But it wouldn't be a soft target anymore. So while people are trying to figure out the Cates Law thing, how about just defending the Marines? I mean, they can defend themselves. I mean, there isn't anybody I wouldn't trust to defend themselves more than a trained Marine. But there anybody there's people who I don't trust to do anything right is Congress, and our current president. To him, this is a gun control utopian society issue, and this is the two sides of the coin. When you have this utopian view of the world and how the world is, the other side of utopia is just dystopia, dystopic, where nothing works and everything goes wrong, and anyway. So this is Hawaii Volcano Squad. I'm just gonna rant for a little while, and I'll see if anybody comes and joins me from Gun Channels or anywhere else. I put a link in the information there, so we'll see. And if anybody's got any news, I'm trying to watch the Gun Channels and the internal chat and the external. So I'm going to put the link for the chat in the HVS page, gunchannels.com/HVS. Gunman identified as 24-year-old Muhammad Yosef Abdulaziz. Well, you guys are out there. I'm trying to run the chat. If you guys can find any information off the internets, help me out. I did read that a police officer was shot in the leg or something, and he's wounded. Somebody said there's 20 minutes of gunfire. It looks like in 20 minutes of gunfire, I mean, he shot up first place, drove to a next place, and then he shot up that, and then he got shot. So that might have taken 20 minutes, but 20 minutes of gunfire. I don't. Maybe time just seemed in slow motion for some witness or something. Doesn't make too much sense when you get in the first reports of this stuff. Yeah, people are interested in the Colorado shooter. I mean, whether he's crazy or not, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I can't tell you. But this shit just pisses me off. If the Congress is so bent on, or the Democrats or our president is so bent on gun control that, Yeah, Second Amendment. If they won't, it's like I don't understand how Barack Obama thinks he knows better than the founding fathers. I mean, but I don't know. He's too smart for our own good. No more first term freshman congressman for president. But we still got a year or 15 months or whatever to put up with this guy until we can have a chance to vote in Republican. But in the meantime, I still don't see Congress needs to pass I mean, these are soft targets. I mean, it's just such an obvious soft target. You know, I'll be surprised if I just don't understand what America is coming to, and if Hillary Clinton gets elected, look out. But this really isn't about I mean, Democrats and Republicans. Nobody wants to see Marines get killed, no matter in America, or no matter what party you're in, and but it's just a points out gun control. I mean, um, I don't know, just or maybe we're not doing a good enough job in including more people and getting out the word or something, or you know, maybe we don't phrase our arguments correctly, but or maybe it's just media mind control. But it's like watch the first reports on CNN, and they bring up Posse Comitatus, and I don't understand how. I mean, Marines defending themselves, just having a gun at a recruiting statement or center, that's not the military using the military to enforce police powers at all. This is just pure out gun control. Let's make the target as soft as it can possibly be. Why don't they just put out a shoot me sign on there? It doesn't make any sense not to have Marines armed. But you don't need to have. Uh, I mean, they it's just doesn't make any sense to me. This is what I don't get it. Maybe somebody can explain it to me, but I doubt it. Oh, Obama has been briefed. I'd like to brief President Obama. Just give him one of those pamphlets on the Constitution. I mean, he taught it, but he hasn't. It's just this utopian versus dystopian disconnect. The world isn't like a very. The world can be a very nasty place, and naturalized citizen from Kuwait. Well, we saved Kuwait. I know the Kuwaiti government is very happy that for the first Gulf War, they don't have any problems with us. They're the most pro-American Arabs you will ever find. Is the Emir of Kuwait. You know, it's just the propaganda. It's and it's not. Yeah, I'm reading all the gun channel stuff here, trying to keep up on what everybody's typing on the YouTube side and on the gunchannels.com side. But so 4 dead, shooter dead, 3 people wounded, one of which was this police officer who was I think he was shot in the leg and he's in the hospital. And you know, I don't get it. It's just a question of people thinking they're smarter than the founding fathers, or the times have changed. People it's really funny when you have a discussion with people. I mean, I've had, and they say that the Bill of Rights, they say the Second Amendment was written at a time when everybody just had muskets and technology has advanced so far. that it doesn't make sense anymore to have a Second Amendment. So I just asked them, okay, do you think the Bill of Rights is outdated? And then they stop, and then they say, I'll say, well, no, no, they aren't willing to go that far. But then they realize that they're wrong. And then, and, I was at my dentist the other day, and, the girl was like, talking about Mad Max, and I did my, and she and her husband, they've never really been shooting or anything, and so but they both like the movie, and so I used my line from the video I did. I'm not Max, but I do have a Glock 17, and then she started asking me about where she could go and learn to shoot and stuff, and because she didn't know much, and didn't know where the range was or anything, and so I just gave her what information I had, and just like a lot of people just don't know about it, and so they're automatically, if you don't know anything, which is covers a lot of the world. I mean, I don't know what we're supposed to teach kids in grade school. I mean, they have history books, right? And they teach about the Revolutionary War. I don't know what they're supposed to teach people in Common Core, but it's it just seems like well, they're supposed to teach them about sex education or something, but the Constitution is too controversial, or I mean, can't teach them about guns. People don't know anything about them. Some people just don't know anything about guns. So that, I guess they don't teach anything about guns in school. I'd rather teach kids about guns than sex education, because sex they'll pretty much figure out for themselves. Nature takes its course, but somebody has to like teach you about the Constitution, and should the doors have been bulletproof? I don't know what would have stopped him, but you would have had to walk inside. You know, obviously, it looks like the shooting was done outside. Just looking at where all the casings are. Should the doors be bulletproof? That would be expensive to bulletproof every recruiting station. But if you look at the military appropriations budget, that budget doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why we're letting go 40 or 50,000 Army personnel. I mean, it just seems like there's tons of stuff we don't need that doesn't work, But I was reading the 2012 appropriations bill because there was just a link on the Wikipedia page for the Posse Comitatus Act. That's in case people want to look that up. That's POSSE space COMITATUS Act. Let's see. Anyway, that was in 1878. So, but it's really, yeah, you don't want the police, you don't want the military forcing police powers, but you don't want this is just a soft target where people need to be able to defend themselves. Oh, don't you want to get me going about the Iran nuclear deal? Jeez. Talk about that. The there's a Chattanooga strike team. They have Department of Homeland Security has activated their Chattanooga strike team. They don't need a strike team. They just need to read the Second Amendment. I mean, there's 4 dead Marines saying, "Why did you fucking read the damn Constitution?" Maybe they'll search the dead guy and find a fingernail clipper or something. I don't know. So I'm not here trying to be entertaining or anything. I'm just I don't have any entertaining things to say about it. It's just I guess we all need to do a better job somehow, and whatever we're doing, it's not good enough uh, to get the message. I don't know. Maybe the Republicans need to, attach a bill that if they don't teach people about the Second Amendment in school, then they defund the schools. How about that? I mean, they want to defund this and defund that. I mean, why not? I mean, I think there was like an ROTC in, like in my high school when I was a kid. But I mean, at some point, it ought to be, they ought to teach people about uh, exactly how the revolution happened and that guns were involved, and what the Constitution means. And there ought to be a section about in every history book about guns in America, and not like allow who's going to write it, but I mean, can't find a historian. It'll probably wind up all screwed up. Never mind. The government can't do anything right. DHS's biggest claim to fame is busting illegal NFL jerseys. Well, I have a Meta World Peace Lakers jersey, so I guess they because I like wearing my Meta World Peace jersey to the range. That was really funny when I was talking to the girl who works the office at the dentist, because the first thing she said when I told her I have a Glock 17 as well, are you going to use it? And I told her, yeah, all the time. I go shoot paper targets. People think that if you have a gun, you're going to use it to hurt somebody. Like, no, people go shoot paper targets, steal targets. That's, and then she figured that out. And then she's like, okay, where can I go do that? So, I don't know. Why do I have to teach people, adults, who don't know anything about guns? Because nobody ever taught them. Of course, I still get pissed off when I meet younger kids who in Hawaii who've never seen the original version of Hawaii 5-0. It's Jack Lord, and they don't know anything about that. So, but that's a whole nother problem. So it'd be nice if somebody else could join the chat and have opinion, but I'll keep ranting and raving about this, for a while. It's just if anybody has any other comments, I'll read them on air or on the internet. Yeah, everybody needs to watch like Gunsmoke. I mean, at least, or The Rifleman. I mean, something with the word gun in it. In order to have a broadcast license, every TV station has to have one show with the word gun in the title. I mean, literally, people don't know anything about guns. They think if you have a gun, you're going to kill somebody. That's all they're for. I mean, this happened because the Marines didn't have guns. If the Marines had guns, the first person, or at least the second person dead, would be, the ISIS guy from Kuwait or whatever, the ISIS sympathizer from Kuwait. And generally that country, again, that's like a pro-American Arab country. I mean, as much as there are pro-Americans, in the Arab world, but that, we saved that country. They were very glad to have American tanks kick the Iraqis the hell out of there. Saddam Hussein's guys, the Republican Guard. And that wasn't a Sunni versus Shia thing. That was just money. Saddam wanted the oil money from Kuwait. And then he had other, there wasn't anything stopping him from going over to Saudi Arabia. But that's ancient history. Yeah, but it is sad when, people, do we blame DHS, or I mean, just the education system, or I don't know. It's like, we need to do a better job of getting, educating people, just about history of America, I think. And, it's not just reading the Constitution. I think it's, putting it into context of the, um, you know, what people were fighting for. Um, or at least what they wrote down in the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. I mean, why they wrote it in some kind of historical context. And because when it gets to the point where the Supreme Court judges have to do that, the kids aren't going to read that. But I don't know. I'm not sure how you do it in a because I'm not an expert on the education system, but having to teach adults one at a time that you can own a gun and be a completely nonviolent person, or because it just, and how guns work and stuff. It's like we're starting from scratch sometimes. Anyway, see if anybody else made any other brilliant comments that I could read on air. So I guess Al Jazeera, or whoever it is, or I don't know who puts this. I guess it's the internet. That's ISIS's internet. Just isn't focused on America. It's focused everywhere. I don't know. Andy Griffin had a gun, but again, he really never needed to use it. It was Barney Frank that was. I don't know. He's your poster boy for, you know, maybe he's your poster boy for letting somebody carry an unloaded gun, but he was a good actor, the guy that did that role. Well, I don't think anybody really in America watches Al Jazeera, and it's ISIS internet stuff, I guess, that people watch. I mean, I don't know. That's what they say. Uh, Whatever happened to Radio Free America or something? You know, it's a multimedia attack. In between, it's cyber warfare. I guess it's a form of cyber warfare to do that. In between just the regular old fashioned cyber attacks and the multimedia, you know, inspiration to do violence attacks. I don't know. I don't think our government has uh, figured out how to handle it. Um, I mean, sometimes just the people have to do it, but I'm really not sure how to deal with that. And I don't think Al Jazeera is really a huge problem. I know that it is a big problem in Arabia. I know that at one point, uh, Saudi Arabia and uh, the Gulf Emirates, basically, they threatened to blockade, uh, a military blockade of what's the one country where Al Jazeera is based in? Um, my mind is blanking out on me. Qatar. They all the Gulf states wanted to blockade Qatar unless they shut Al Jazeera down. You know, because I know Saudi Arabia didn't want an Arab Spring or an Arab uprising. They just paid people more money to make them happy. Yeah, well, they always have their Israel is evil chat, stuff stories on occasionally. I mean, it's just amazing. Yeah, Arab propaganda. I mean, but even obviously the monarchies don't like the Arab monarchies don't like the uprising stuff, and pretty much all the you know Gulf states are monarchies, but they're pretty enlightened monarchies up to a point. I mean, uh, up to a certain point, unless you're an immigrant that has to work in 130-degree weather out there outside. But I don't know how they get them to do that. I don't watch Al Jazeera. I mean, they just had I tried watching a couple of their shows, and then they had some shows bashing Israel, and I was like, that's it for me. I don't expect everybody in America know about the Middle East and stuff, but the world is smaller, and it just seems that anyway, the point of this be doing this was that some Marines should they be able to uh, have be able to defend themselves in their recruiting stations. And that's pretty much it. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they'll be talking about it, and it'll be like gun control and how bad is it that the evil person got a gun? The guy from Kuwait got a gun, but how come the Marines didn't have guns? Is the real point, and that's because our government is just screwed up. So anyway, see if anybody else has any other comments. Probably stretching out my bandwidth here. I don't know. Let's see. So yeah, I came on in the middle of the day. Usually all the gun channel chats are on at night. So everybody's out running about during the day, and then at nighttime everybody gets home and flips on gun channels, and everybody does their chats. And I think Stone Guy has a chat. And I know I don't want to hear you. I think Yankee Marshall's on vacation. So this is probably a good day for him not to be because we start arguing about the Middle East or something, which he doesn't know about. And most people do not know about the Middle East. So I don't know. But they should know about their own constitution, and the Marines should have the ability to defend themselves. So, like I said, if you can't trust Marines with guns and recruiting stations, I mean, it's the politicians that we don't trust. The Marines I'll trust. It's the politicians that we don't, because they swear an oath to defend something that they don't understand. And but they all have their own agendas. You know, they all want to be reelected, and whatever. And most of them just don't have any experience. And like Barack Obama, same problem. Idealists who don't understand the history of the country. You know, and it's not like Obama isn't a smart person. He's very smart. It's just he's an ideologue. He's an idealist, and the world doesn't work like he thinks it does. With regard to the nuclear deal, they're going to go do all their nuclear research in North Korea. That's where they've been doing their nuclear research for the most part. Then they could test all they want in North Korea, and they could shoot off all the missiles they want. And they can get they can just fly in an airplane any materials they need. and would have nothing to do with what they're watching in Iran. So, um, and so since North Korea is a problem that will not be solved, and I wonder how China feels. I mean, they've found, you know, in there've been reports like in Tehran airport, when just containers of radioactive containing radioactive nuclear isotopes just cracked open on the runway. And where do they think those came from? That stuff came from North Korea. Is either going to or from North Korea. And how does China feel about having planes fly right over their territory containing radioactive containers? One of those things drops down, crashes. One of those North Korean flights or old Iranian airliners crashes into China carrying a plane load of radioactive material, nuclear material. Only people they're gonna have to blame are themselves. But I don't know. Some problems just defy. Some problems we can't solve. But arming Marines in recruitment centers, we should be able to solve that. We should be able to do that. But somehow I think it won't get done in an election year. I mean, the Republicans might pass something, but you know. So if anybody else has any comments or anything, any other updates on the news, be happy to, or wants to log on, because I can only ramble and rant for so long before I pass out, but I don't know, that's probably maybe that's why Rush Limbaugh takes all those drugs to keep him going or something. But anyway, I mean, I wouldn't care except this happened in America, so I mean, I was in a Marine recruiting station once when I was a kid. The Army guy looked at me like I was making a big mistake talking to a Marine recruiter. But I think I was always afraid of the haircut from when I saw Full Metal Jacket. But now I kind of cut my hair like that anyway. So, well, maybe not that bad, but. So let's see if there's any other comments here before I go research this stuff. So Dirk Dart, Catch Bay, and Sean Connery on the Gun Channel side. Anything else? You guys find out anything else about it? Yeah, well, I had to come on and just rant because it just pissed me off so bad. It's going to be like in San Francisco when the federal government says nothing, when that 32-year-old girl got shot. Again, this shouldn't have anything to do with the Posse Comitatus Act, because a Marine just with a gun to defend himself in a recruiting station, he's not enforcing police powers, not in any sense. I mean, they should all have carry, at least. I mean, they don't even need a carry permit. That's their place of business, and they should be allowed to carry a gun at work. To and from work, and whether, even if they can't carry it, they should be able to transport it there. Then, I mean, they can, they don't, I don't know why I don't know why they don't. I mean, if you run a gun shop, you're allowed to, if you run any store, you're allowed to have a gun in your store. So why aren't these guys allowed to do that? What idiot made that policy, especially in today's world? I mean, just to repeat, a long time ago, the threats were countries with navies that could sail over here and drop an army. But now the threat is anybody that watches ISIS propaganda and decides they want to do something, you know, uh, and that Marines are evil. I'm glad it was an immigrant from, but it's still, it really, Kuwait is, well, I think it's Sunni, but, you know, uh, this is a whole mess from Iraq, so we can blame a lot of people for Iraq, whether we should have gone in there or not, but pulling out the 10,000, you know, basically the whole problem was when Obama pulled out those troops because Iran demanded that they wanted the U.S. out. You know, I think we just need to let Iran fight ISIS by themselves and not help them. And we could just bomb the crap out of them. And if it was me, if I was president, yes, I just land a few armored divisions and just I wouldn't try and hold any territory. I just do like a big armored division drive by and blast anybody with a black ISIS flag to hell. Go right through Syria and blast pretty much everybody because there's nobody there we like, and then and then and then turn left and go to Israel and debark at a Haifa, or re-embark at Haifa report, and just you know that would be if I was president, but nobody's gonna elect me. So I'm just wondering, it's just are people gonna actually arm these Marines? Are people not going to be allowed to carry guns at recruiting stations? I mean, it's not like the recruiters are going to go sign this paper or we're going to shoot you. I mean, that's not how they recruit people nowadays. They don't Shanghai them. But it's a job and it's a patriotic thing, uh, to join the military. And whether you're doing it for patriotism or money, thanks. But even the military recruiters who probably aren't the most popular, uh, they're still you know they're still need to defend themselves. And this whoever came up with this policy, whichever Democrat or whichever idiot, said that, and blame the Posse Comitatus Act. It's not a law enforcement power to defend yourself in a shop where you're working. So uh, I don't know if people weren't just automatically scared when they hear the word gun, you know. Uh, but then we wouldn't have these scenes that like the one that you're looking at on this video. And so, all right. So there appeared to be no new details yet, and I'm sure I don't doubt. I wonder if President Obama is going to even make a statement on this. Just another small group of Marines that gave their life for their country. I'm taking a break for a couple of minutes here because I'll leave the chat open, but I'm too pissed off to talk. Yeah, it's really not. I don't really blame the shooter. You know, I mean, shooter. I mean, you know, you expect to have enemies in the world, but you can't just blame the shooter only. You can't just say he's evil when if you disarm people, you know, when there is evil in the world, and say you're not allowed to defend yourselves, and you make this the soft target, you make them wear your uniform of your country, and you don't let them defend themselves. It's not just the shooter's fault, you know. Yeah, just sometimes words fail me, on you know. I'm getting more and more like my dad the older I get, man. I should call him up and get him on this chat. I think he's gonna go wind up buying that tank or something if I buy that was on eBay for $175,000 and park it in front of a Marine recruiting station with a sign that says "Bring it on." I'm gonna quickly just check, do internet search and see if there's anything new on there on this story. There are entirely too many letters in Chattanooga, let me tell you. Trying to do internet searches on this stuff. See what the Clinton News Network says. Two military sites. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear CNN. I want to read that. How do you hit the stop button on this? Yeah, probably should never get my knees. Yeah, you can't go to CNN without their dumb video playing. Where do you go to get the news nowadays? Without having some advertisement play or something. Let's see. Chattanoogan.com. I didn't even know there was such a word as Chattanoogan. Four military personnel were shot and killed at a Chattanooga police officer was shot Thursday morning in an attack on local military recruiting office on Lee Highway. Then a shootout near the Naval Reserve Center on Amnicola Highway. Police officer was reported in stable condition with a shot to the ankle. see. The shooter was shot and killed. Reports listed his name as Mohammed Yusuf Abdul Aziz, who was living in Hickson and is originally from Phoenix, Arizona. So who said, here it is. A SWAT team and numerous other police units were at his home on Colonial Way Circle, which is off Colonial Drive near Lake Chickamauga. Nearby neighbors were told to leave their residence. Abdulaziz is a naturalized U.S. citizen from Kuwait. An ISIS-affiliated account tweeted, quote, "You will see wonders Chattanooga at about the time of the shooting outbreak." Okay, so it was a targeted terrorist attack. Somebody at least tweeted about it. So some Kuwaiti inspired by ISIS. This is what happens when you have this Sunni Shia mess over there. So this probably wouldn't have happened if we had, stopped ISIS by not pulling out in the first place. This is, but Iran wanted us out of there, so they didn't renew the, status of forces, which gave Obama an excuse to get out, pull out the last contingent of soldiers. He said the shootings were at the Naval Recruiting Facility and the Naval Reserve Center. FBI agent in charge Ed Reinhold said those killed were at the facility on Amnicola Highway near the River Park. So the shooter started at the military facility on Lee Highway at around 10:45 a.m. Bullet holes were in the front door, and there are a number of shell casings, which is kind of what I'm showing. A witness said a vehicle pulled up and the driver brought out a large gun. She said he fired one shot, then there were endless shots. She said some people from the recruiting office ran out the back door. Agent Reinhold said the man drove the 7 miles between the two facilities, and the entire incident was over in about 30 minutes. He did not answer a question at the afternoon press conference whether the shooter was shot by police or took his own life. Mayor Burke called it incomprehensible. And the authorities will respond with every resource we have available. I mean, it's over already, so I don't know. Could do the postmortem on his social media and computer. The gunman was reportedly driving a silver Mustang and wielding a high-powered rifle. Agent Reinhold said he had numerous weapons with him. Well, the FBI and the ATF showed up after it was all over. A tragic incident took place in our community. It was a terrorist attack, but okay. Following the shooting incident that occurred this morning, the trauma center received 3 shooting victims. So there's some injured people, I guess. Authorities said they had no warning about the attack. And they're having a citywide prayer vigil. All right, well, that's the news part of it, I guess. Just do one last quick check, see if there's anything else that people are typing. I'm not sure. Moff 939 asks, I'm not sure. Yes, is it true that Bill Clinton disarmed recruits in recruitment centers? Well, you mean the recruiting officers, not the recruits. The recruits, if they show up with guns, like, hey, I brought my gun. Let me join up. I don't know. That's you mean the recruiters. I don't know. I'd have to check. He's asking, is it true that Bill Clinton disarmed, I'm assuming, recruiters in recruitment centers back in 1990s? I'm not sure. I don't know if they ever had. I mean, when I was there, it's before 1990, and I don't remember them having guns, but I probably wouldn't have even noticed if they did. I mean, it wouldn't bother me. I mean, well, if Bill Clinton is the idiot that did it, then he should man up and take the blame for this one. The Marines took the bullets. Now who's going to take the blame, right? He got a DUI in April. Well, I mean, I guess he got the guns before April then. I mean, I don't know. Some people think a DUI disqualifies you. It might in Hawaii, but I don't know. Pretty much sneezing disqualifies you from having a gun in Hawaii, so I try not to sneeze. But hey, I just shoot paper targets. I don't. That's it. Steel targets. I'd shoot steel targets if I had them, but I'm one of those legal, law-abiding citizens that nobody pays attention to. So if Clinton did it, and that, I'm not sure. Let's do a quick search on recruitment centers and disarming and see if anything comes up. Might be interesting. Recruitment center disarm. All right, I'll see if anything comes up because I'm not really sure. So this chat isn't like a planned chat where there's a bunch of people, talking about stuff. It's early in the day, and people aren't on gun channels, and it just so it's not really for like entertainment or anything like that. This isn't really entertaining. Just trying to get to the bottom of it. Bomb attacks on Iraqi recruitment center. Well, at least they didn't blow it up here. It's because by the way, those. Well, anyway, let's not get into the whole Iraq problem. Oh, here's another story from Arkansas. What year was this happening? 2009. Police in Little Rock, Arkansas, from June 1st, 2009. Great. I think I'm going to crash my internet if I keep doing searches like this. Well, let's see if this chat will stay up or not. Yeah, hopefully, I'm not even sure if this is broadcasting anymore because my internet is just blown a gasket. As soon as I clicked on Fox News, everything died. It's not the first attack on a recruiting center, but I'm not even sure if I'm broadcasting anymore. All right. Well, I'm seeing stuff, so it looks like I'm broadcasting, but I don't know. It's not the first attack on a recruiting center. I saw one in 2009. I'm going to turn off that Fox News page because that's when everything died. Oh, guess what? It's a Microsoft update. Thank you, Microsoft, for screwing everything up. I want to finish reading this article in case I am still broadcasting. Police in Little Rock, Arkansas, this is from June 1st, 2009, say a man who shot 2 new Army soldiers, killing one at a military recruiting center, likely had political and religious motives. Police Chief Stuart Thomas identified the victim, who died as a 24-year-old William Long of Conway. He and the second soldier, both wearing fatigues, had recently completed basic training and volunteered to help attract others to the military. That was in 2009. So this is another attack on a police recruiting center. A man in a black SUV drove to the recruitment office and fired several shots with an assault rifle around 10:30 a.m. Little Rock police told Fox News. Let's see. Lieutenant Colonel Thomas F. Artis of the Oklahoma City Recruiting Battalion, which oversees the Little Rock office, says the victims had just completed basic training and were not regular recruiters. They were serving 2 weeks in the Little Rock office. So this is from 2009. Neither of the soldiers had been deployed for combat. They were sent to talk to friends, folks in the area. They can show the example. Here's where I was, and here's where I am. Well, at least in this case, they said they told reporters at a news conference the gunman targeted the military, but was not believed to be part of a larger scheme. Well, this guy was part of a larger scheme, right? So I think a Microsoft update available thing came up and just fucked with my internet. So had a little hiccup there. It looks like I'm still broadcasting to me, but let me see if anybody in Gun Channels is out there and can actually hear me. Anybody out there? Oh, I'm seeing stuff. Looks like I'm broadcasting. All right. So I'm going to look further here on this recruitment search. Microsoft, fix your software. So that was in 2009. Somebody else shot up a recruiting center. Let's add Bill Clinton to this. Let's add Clinton to this search and see if that has any effect. Well, I use DuckDuck. Probably shouldn't say that because they'll delete or mute it. I use a different search engine, and Google actually mutes it if you say the name. They automatically search for if you say the name of another search engine, and they'll like mute the audio. But I use a different search engine. But anyway, that doesn't track you. But I mean, not if they really care. But yeah, I'm not finding much on. Somebody's going to actually have to ask the question and do the research because I don't know. Who decided to disarm if they were ever armed at recruiting centers. There's a Wikipedia page for the 2009 Little Rock recruiting shooting on Wikipedia. See if that has anything. Not that Wikipedia is the best place to get your facts, but well, here's the name. The shooter was American. Well, he was like a converted Muslim. It says the Little Rock shooting. This is if you believe anything that Wikipedia says. The 2009 Little Rock recruiting office shooting took place on June 1st, 2009, when American Abdul Hakim Mujahid Muhammad, born Carlos Leon Bledsoe. So I guess he changed his name and converted to a different religion. Opened fired with a rifle in a drive-by shooting on soldiers in front of a U.S. military recruiting office in Little Rock, Arkansas. After his arrest, Muhammad acknowledged shooting the men he told police that he had intended to kill as many Army personnel as possible. He had an SKS rifle, a Mossberg International 702 rifle, 2 handguns, 562 rounds of ammunition, and military books in his car. Charged with capital murder, attempted capital murder, and 10 counts of unlawful discharge of a weapon. If they're going to charge, why do they... if you're going to go for capital murder, I mean, you really need to... I mean, all right, well, throw in gun charges on top of that. I mean, you want to kill the guy and give him the death penalty, But Muhammad also reportedly faced 15 counts of engaging in a terrorist act. A converted Islam, Muhammad had gone to Yemen You hear that, Yankee Marshal? Yemen. Convert to Islam, Muhammad had gone to Yemen in 2007 to teach English. Staying about 16 months, he was then deported from Yemen. How do you get deported from Yemen? Well, I guess we had a pro-West government there, so I guess it's possible. But deported from Yemen to the United States after having overstayed his visa and had been detained. I mean, how do you get, they check your visa and you've overstayed your visa? You probably didn't have any money to bribe anybody to stay there. All right. I'm going to check and see if there's any new comments before I go on with the story, because it looks like the Microsoft update has okay. Yeah, I see Bad Brain in the YouTube chat. I see MAF 939. Yeah, well, I don't think America knows how to fight, lone wolves on the internet. This is well, it's not just a cyber war in the classic sense, that we're like you having a cyber war with China and everybody stealing each other's secrets. But I mean, it's an internet propaganda war. I mean, I think part of the problem is Americans don't realize how good they have it because they haven't been deployed to Iraq. Because we have all volunteer force, which makes a good military, but I mean, we have a population that I don't know. I guess it's a recruit bait, and I guess people always looking for something to believe in the face of everyday ordinary life sometimes. But let's see. All right, well, there's some people still on gun channels. Yeah, basically, Microsoft had an update, and it starts pre-downloading or everything. So I'm gonna finish going back to this Wikipedia thing here on the 2009 Little Rock recruiting office. I'm not finding so far anything on who disarmed or if they were ever armed in the first place. So in January 2010, Muhammad wrote to the judge in his case. He claimed that he was sent on the attacks by Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP. So we in Yemen here we have AQAP, which is completely separate from ISIS, and they fight each other too. Anyway, he pleaded guilty to the charges of capital murder. He had not consulted with his lawyers, and no independent confirmation of his claim had been made. His father described him as unable to process reality. Well, I know a lot of people who who are unable to process reality, but they don't go shoot up recruiting stations. But I guess if you trained with AQAP, I don't know. The lead prosecutor for the Pulaski County, Arkansas, said about Muhammad's attack, if you strip away what he says, self-serving or not, it's just an awful killing. It's like a lot of other killings we have. Except most killings aren't done by AQAP. I guess he didn't believe him. All right. Why would he lie if he's pleading guilty anyway? His shooting attack was the first of two in 2009 on military facilities. In the Fort Hood shooting in November, the U.S. Army psychiatrist shot and killed 13 and wounded 29 other soldiers. Although a Senate special report chaired by independent Joseph Lieberman declared it the deadliest terrorist attack within the United States since September 11th, Yadal Malik Hassan was charged with murder and sentenced to death. The Arkansas prosecutor took the Muhammad case to trial in 2011. The defense lawyer said the young man suffered a delusional disorder. During the trial, Muhammad changed his plea to guilty, and the prosecutor accepted it. And on July 25th, 2011, Muhammad was sentenced to life in prison. At trial, the suspect was charged by the state with capital murder and related charges, not terrorism. Some terrorism experts have noted a connection to other homegrown terror plots in recent years, including targets, ideological motives, and religious inspiration. Others believe that the state ideological or religious reasons may have simply been cover for a personal problem. Well, the guy went to Yemen and joined AQAP. Then he probably had personal problems, but that doesn't, you know. Well, let's see about this attempted escape. There's more here on this Wikipedia page. Let's see. Muhammad drove away from the scene hoping to reach Memphis, Tennessee, where he intended to switch cars. With police in pursuit, Muhammad got confused in a construction zone and was captured 8 miles from the recruiting center. And then he surrendered. He was wearing an ammunition belt when he exited the vehicle. He said, "It's a war going on against Muslims, and that's why I did it." That's a quote. Quote, "It's a war going on against Muslims, and that's why I did it." Unquote. He used language indicating an association with jihad. He was there with AQAP, and they didn't charge him with terrorism. A police search of his apartment turned up Molotov cocktails, homemade sound suppressors, and compact discs labeled in Arabic script. Muhammad later said he intentionally killed the soldiers and would have killed more people if more had been there. He said that he did not regard his action as murder because American military actions in the Middle East justified the slaying of Americans. Law enforcement officials said Muhammad had researched various targets around the United States, including military bases, government facilities, and any synagogues. He said, I've loved jihad ever since I became a Muslim. Muhammad was arrested at a roadside checkpoint in Yemen on November 14th, 2008. He had overstayed his visa. He did not have the required government travel permits and was holding a fraudulent Somali passport. According to his 2010 letters about this period, in his car were books about explosives literature by Anwar al-Awlaki. That's a cleric in Yemen linked to AQAP. And videos and reading material about Muslim soldiers in different parts of the world. Imprisoned for over 2 months in Yemen, Muhammad said he was repeatedly interrogated but not subject to torture. He began plans for jihad against the U.S. while he was in prison in Yemen. James Hennessy Jr., Muhammad's American lawyer after his arrest in the United States, later said he was radicalized by Islamic fundamentalists while in prison. Under pressure from the U.S., Yemen deported Muhammad to the U.S. in January 2008. Because the original plan to travel to Somalia for bomb training had been foiled by his arrest in Yemen, Muhammad said Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula helped him create a new plan of attack. Investigators have not independently confirmed his claims, and they still didn't charge him with terrorism. They probably wanted to use it as an excuse to have gun control or something stupid. Yeah, if G-Webs is out there. So, yeah, do you need a link? Because I've been like soloing this, basically going over the Chattanooga shooting at the recruiting station and a 2009 shooting at in an Arkansas recruiting station. Let me see if I could get back to the page and throw up the link again. So many pages and buttons and things to click on when you run a chat. Yes, so to reply to your comment, MAF939 on the YouTube side, there's, America didn't take this other guy seriously, and he actually shot up a recruiting station and killed two soldiers, and they didn't charge him with terrorism. He's serving life in prison, and he was in Yemen, recruited by AQAP. So now let me get back to the gun channels page here. Yeah, well, basically, just so to answer G-Webs and on gunchannels.com. Yeah, basically just wanted to cover the Chattanooga shooting and just go over. We went over Posse Comitatus Act and how that doesn't apply to just, that's having Marines, have a gun to defend themselves is not enforcing, using the military to enforce law. So it should have nothing to do with the Posse Comitatus Act, just to have a gun in the office that they're working at. Anybody in any shop can do that. And so we're talking about that. And a 2009 shooting in Little Rock of a recruiting office by a guy who was born in the U.S. and radicalized, and he went to Yemen and the U.S. brought him back, insisted that he be deported back to the U.S. So, well, it's not the religion; it's the terrorist organizations. AQAP, Al Qaeda. I mean, in Arabian Peninsula is a terrorist organization. It's not a religion, and and you know, and this guy. So that was and ISIS is a terrorist organization, not a religion either. So I mean, at least in my opinion, it's not. It's not a caliphate. I don't know. Maybe some people think it is, but whatever it is, it's not my problem. My problem is that our own government won't let the Marines have a gun to defend themselves in a recruiting station. I mean, how stupid is that? But anyway, I already ranted for about how long have I been ranting for? So, all right. Well, they sought the death penalty originally in this case in Little Rock, Arkansas, when they shot up the place, recruiting center there. So let's just finish this. Let's finish what this guy that they didn't charge with terrorism in the Little Rock, Arkansas, chewed up a recruiting statement, a statement that he made, the shooter. He said, quote, this is Abdul Hakim Mujahid Muhammad. He said, and I quote, I knew this would end with the enemies of Allah killing me, but the good thing is martyrs don't die. Allah says, don't think of those who are killed for the sake of Allah as dead, rather that they live with their Lord. Unquote. That's Quran 3 semicolon or no colon 169. That's a specific quote. And then he says, and that's what I believe. The jihad lives on. Unquote. People can just take parts of any religious text and twist it. I don't know. I'm not an expert on religion, so what do I know? All I know is that if you have a Marines wearing a uniform and they're in a recruiting station in an office, they should have a gun to defend themselves in the way the world works now. And it's kind of obvious this is not the first time, this Chattanooga case, that somebody shot up a recruiting station. It's a soft target. If the Marines had guns, they'd pick another target, or they would not have killed 4 Marines. 4 Marines with guns will take care of themselves against one guy with a gun. 999 out of 1,000 times. So let's see. Muhammad was held in Pulaski County Detention Center, awaiting a scheduled 2011 jury trial. That same month, a 2-page handwritten letter to the judge. In this case, Muhammad changed his plea to guilty. He claimed to be a soldier of Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula and described the recruiting office shooting as a jihadi attack. He said he was part of Abu Basir's army. Reference to Nasser Abdul Karim al-Wahishi, the AQAP leader in Yemen. Muhammad wrote at the time, "I wasn't insane or post-traumatic, nor was I forced to do this act." Sorry, had to cough right there. Let's see. The attack was justified according to Islamic laws and the Islamic religion, jihad, to fight those who were wage war against Islam and Muslims. Muhammad did not discuss his change in plea with his lawyers ahead of time. Discussing his claim of affiliation with the Al Qaeda group in Yemen led by al Awaki, who was killed in September of 2011, and al Wahishi, he wrote in his letters of May to October in 2010. Just let's see. Far as Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, yes, I am affiliated with them. This I'm quoting. That's not me. I'm quoting Muhammad. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm quoting this guy. Uh, our goal, he says, our goal is to rid the Islamic world of idols and idolaters, paganism and pagans, infidelity and infidels, hypocrisy and hypocrites, apostasy and apostates, democracy and Democrats. He could have just joined the Republican Party instead. Oh, well, he joined AQAP, and now he's spending life in prison. And relaunched the Islamic Caliphate and established Islamic law. Muhammad's father, Melvin Bledsoe, said he doubted whether his son had any such ties. Bledsoe described his son as unable to process reality and being so brainwashed that he wanted to be convicted of terrorism and executed, thus becoming a martyr. Right. So basically saying my son is an idiot. All right. Well, okay. I think I discussed this 2009 Little Rock recruiting station shootout at a military recruiting station. A witness, Lance P. Luplo, heard approximately 7 loud bangs and then saw a black truck with tinted windows speeding away and its tailgate down, spilling bottles of water onto the street. Luplo ran to Long, who had been shot several times, who appeared to be dead. As Agula had been crawling to the door, holding a bloodied ear, and he exclaimed, quote, "Tell me this isn't real. Tell me this isn't real," unquote. Other soldiers came to perform first aid and CPR attempted on Long. Long was dead upon arrival at a hospital. Ezagala, who was shot in his back, head, and buttocks, was rushed to emergency surgery at Baptist Hospital in critical condition. Long's father later remarked, and I guess this is the best quote. Long's father later remarked, and I quote, "They weren't on the battlefield, but apparently the battlefield's here," unquote. Well, there you go. They weren't on the battlefield, but the battlefield is here. And we're not allowed to carry guns because of idiot leftists in our own government. I mean, if the Marines can't carry guns in a recruiting office, you know, everything's just too fucked up. Okay, so MAF, you found something? MAF 939 says some outlets are citing Army Regulation 190-14, a policy implemented in 1993 that changed policy regarding carrying firearms on the Army military bases, to cast blame on Clinton. Well, I'm not trying to cast blame on somebody. I mean, let the facts, just trying to find out what the actual facts are, so I mean, if somebody changed an army regulation, uh, first of all, this isn't a military base. I mean, and there are MPs with guns on military bases, I assume, at the gate or whatever. I mean, I know at least there's got to be at least some MPs with guns. Yeah. But this wasn't a base. This is a soft target. I mean, recruiting office is not a base. It's a shop, basically. It's like any other shop. If you run a pizza shop, you're allowed to have a gun. And you're allowed to carry a gun in your shop. And that's just everywhere in the United States. There's no law against it, as far as I know. But like I said, if we can't trust Marines with guns, so if somebody wants to do a quick internet research on Army Regulation 190-14, policy implemented in 1993. But that's military bases. Again, you're saying military bases. This is not a military base. A recruiting office is that's like the storefront, you know. So is there anybody else that wants to come in here? And I mean, I could only rant and rave for so long. I don't know how long this has been going. Let's see. Well, it doesn't matter. Post the links in the lobby and in gunchannels.com/HVS. So basically, there was this shooting in 2009 and then again in 2015. And at this point, they better arm the recruiters, you know. Well, obviously, if they can pin something on Clinton, that will. I mean, well, they didn't do it because of Hillary or something, but she wasn't. She was just the first lady at the time, so you can't really blame her. But since she wants to disarm everybody anyway, I was having fun reading about the Federalist Papers, and then somebody came on CNN and saying because of the Posse Comitatus Act, recruiters can't carry guns. But the Posse Comitatus Act is just says the military can't. You can't use the military as police to enforce police powers inside the United States. But again, carrying a gun in self-defense in a recruiting shop is just common sense. It's not. Forcing police powers, and since they apparently aren't allowed to, or at least they don't, I'd like to know what idiot made that decision. Well, I didn't come on to make like a show. It's not like a show. I just came on because I was so pissed. I I just basically what I'm saying. G Webs is that four Marines just took a few bullets for the country, and that just pisses me off. If two Army soldiers took two bullets and they didn't figure it out in Little Rock, Arkansas in 2009, and now four Marines took some bullets, and nobody will get it because they all have their political agendas or whatever. I mean, if they can't trust the Marines in a recruiting office to carry a gun, you know, is what's wrong with America? I guarantee you, 4 Marines with pistols can deal with one idiot with an idiot ISIS inspired fool with a gun. They didn't have to die for nothing, and I think they will have died for nothing. And if they, this is a soft target and it's not been hit the first time. So I was just so pissed off. I didn't start a chat to start a chat because Gun Channels needs another chat. I started a chat because I was just kind of enraged beyond incredulity. I don't know if we're doing everything right. I mean, we need to change our message or get it out there. And got to do something. So is there anything else that any other news or updates or uh, side issues? Because we talked about the 2009 and 2014 and how the Posse Comitatus Act doesn't really have anything to do with self-defense and yeah, I mean, just carrying a gun at a recruiting station. In this world that we live in, that's a soft target. So anyway, I just came on because I was just so damn pissed. Want to take a liberal and want to take somebody from Congress and make him read the Constitution. I just wonder if they could pass a test quiz about it. So anyway. Yeah, well, we're talking about violence tax on guns. How about a violence tax on the internet? Anybody that uses the internet needs to be taxed because that's the problem. They're all being, well, I mean, this guy was from Kuwait, so. Well, basically, so this is, it's just it's a internet. I mean, we're used to cyber wars and the concept of hacking, but this is just a different type of war on the internet, and American government doesn't know how to fight it, you know. So, yeah. Anyway, at least I got to rant and rave for a couple hours. I mean, because the point was, it's not just the shooter's fault. It's the fault of everybody that thinks these guys weren't allowed to, the Marines weren't allowed to carry a gun, you know. And and I'm saying it's just because they don't teach people about guns in schools or anything, or the history of it. And you know, the world is fucked up. That's all I could say. It's fucked up. It's foobar, and our government especially is foobar. So I don't know what we can do to make anything change, but I would really like to figure out the right thing to do. I don't know what it is. And all I know is if Obama comes out and if anybody comes out and calls for gun control because of this, I'm just, I don't know, like my brain will explode or something. So, so anybody else in the chat have anything final last words for because I think I've pretty much covered everything unless there's any new news or topics on this. So throw out one more search. I can't figure out exactly who came up with that policy, but I'll write down the number and look it up. That particular policy that was mentioned in the YouTube external. Just doing one more internet search here. Chattanooga is just too long of a word. It has way too many letters. You should try and type it. There's a post on some weird forum. Oh, Chattanooga was briefly put under a no-fly zone. Well, that ought to protect everybody. Nobody attacked from the air. They did not come by land and they did not come by sea. Or they did come by land. They did not come by air or sea. All right. Let's see. A DOD thing. DOD. Department of Defense. Well, somebody had to come up with that idea. Did they ever have armed recruiting officers? I mean, they don't. I wouldn't remember them carrying when I was a kid, but it's just that I don't think kids that come into a gun I think they think it would be cool if the guy had a gun, who was the recruiting officer. I mean, but I don't remember if they ever did have one. I mean, do you know for sure that they actually ever had guns at recruiting stations? I mean, they weren't, the recruiting stations weren't targets, soft targets until I guess 2009. They weren't, until very recently. They weren't, there wouldn't have been any reason for to carry a gun or to even need one. But in this gun control world, that political world of stupidity, of unconstitutional, or the entire country is an unconstitutional zone, constitution free zone. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know, but I don't think it would even be required. I mean, they don't have anything to steal, so nobody's going to rob a recruiting station because there ain't nothing there, So until this whole ISIS inspire crap happened, there wouldn't be any reason to even have one. So I'm just trying to remember if anybody ever had guns in recruiting stations. I mean, they weren't really needed until very recently, I would think. But I would, unless it was. Yeah, the only warfare going on in a recruiting store would be between like the conflict between the Army and the Marines trying to lobby young recruits. Tennessee gun laws are to blame, not the fact that they're not allowed to carry guns in recruiting. Says, well, they better change that policy, or otherwise, I think everybody that's a recruiter is gonna just carry a gun anyway. I mean, if I was a military recruiter, I'd just carry a gun anyway. I mean, in the shop, if you work in a shop, if you work in any shop, you're allowed to carry a gun in your shop. I don't know why the Marines wouldn't be allowed to. Are they? It's like only Marines aren't allowed to carry. Posse Comitatus doesn't have shit to do with it. They're not there to enforce local law as a military force. You know. So, what local news are you talking about, Catch Bay, in the Gun Channels internal chat there? Yeah, so I see Dano came in. Basically, Dano, in case you just got here, we're just talking about the 2009 and just the in Europe. Well, they don't know anything in Europe. We're talking about the 2009 Little Rock, Arkansas shoot it. They shot up somebody shot up a recruiting station. Somebody who used to be in Al Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, and today the Chattanooga, Tennessee recruiting station where 4 Marines were killed. Well, yeah, I wouldn't worry about what they say in Europe and Finland and crazy. They don't know anything in Europe. They can't do anything right in Europe, pretty much. So Europe has a general anti-American bend. It's they're used in Europe. They used to blaming America for everything. So I wouldn't be too concerned about what they said in Europe. Yeah, just sometimes things happen that piss me off so bad that Yeah, well, there are bad people in the world, and we being America, you're going to have being the big kid on the block. We're going to have our slew of enemies, and but like the guy, like the father of the soldiers that were killed in Little Rock, Arkansas, at the recruitment center in 2009, said, I thought they weren't deployed at a battlefield, but the battlefield is here now. So uh, no, Michigander, we're talking about Chattanooga, Tennessee, and the Little Rock, in Little Rock, Arkansas, in 2009. We're talking about shooting up recruiting centers. Oh, the Aurora verdict just came in. All right. Well, we pretty much killed the or finished off the Marine military recruiting centers in 2009 in Little Rock, Arkansas, and uh, uh, two Army soldiers died when they were attacked by a AQAP uh, person who uh, basically went to Yemen. Okay, so they're saying in Aurora he wasn't insane, and we're talking about the Chattanooga shooting uh, that happened today. The enemy is ISIS. That's the enemy. But the idiots are in Congress. The people who's you can't just blame the enemy. You know, if you're doing dumbass stuff like not letting your Marines have a gun. Like, what if they landed on Iwo Jima, but they didn't have any guns? I mean, that wouldn't have turned out very well. Okay, so but the Aurora verdict came in, and he's guilty, and he's not insane. I didn't hear all the evidence. I don't know if he was insane or not. I'll just have to trust the jury on this one. They listen to it all. So are they going to give him the death penalty, or that basically now it's the penalty phase is next, right? Well, this isn't even disarming America that we're talking about. We're just talking about Marines in a recruiting station. So, in case you came in late, yes, there's a shooting in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yeah, Aurora was the movie theater, the shooting. But what got me on here was the Chattanooga shooting just today, with 4 dead Marines at four Marines that took bullets because they weren't allowed to carry guns in the recruiting station. And that wasn't the enemy's fault. That was our own fault. So after 2009, they should have figured that a recruiting station is a soft target with military personnel that have no defense whatsoever. In Colorado, they'd put him in a chamber and just fill it full of marijuana smoke until he died. I don't know how much that would be, but oh yeah, recruiting station is a perfect soft target. I mean, military personnel and absolutely no defense. All they have is pens and pencils. You could throw their pens at them or something. I know people are coming in late, and I don't know how much I can keep repeating the same stuff, you know. So, but if somebody else wants to come in here and repeat the same stuff, so I don't have to. So basically, there was, you know, four Marines are dead because they weren't allowed to carry guns in a recruiting station, and it's like it happened before in 2009. Yes, that's the new war. I mean, it's, a different kind of cyber war. Cyber war we're used to is just hacking, and this is like a cyber recruiting war. You know, basically, you recruit your army from the internet, and you don't have to really train them. You just have some how to blow up a thing video, I guess, and or how to get a gun and shoot it video, and with a bunch of music, and I don't know what the hell they do, but I guess it works. But this guy was originally from Kuwait that shot up he immigrated to America from Kuwait. So he was probably radicalized in Kuwait, which is a pro-American country. I mean, we saved the whole country. The Emir of Kuwait has got to be the most pro-American uh, um, ruler, uh, monarch in Arabia because we saved his country, and he knows it. So this is the ISIS recruiting, and I mean, probably why Saudi Arabia and most of the Gulf Emirates threatened Qatar to. They wanted Qatar to completely shut down Al Jazeera, and they threatened to blockade them, the whole country of Qatar. So see, all Sunni Arabs don't agree on everything. Well, I would say, well, yeah, but look, I think the Emir of Kuwait is pro-American. I'll go that far. No, the Emir of Kuwait is not giving lip service. He actually believes him. No, they're very pro-American. We could land all we have. We can use this country anytime. The Americans, United States of America, can use Kuwait any old time they want. That's a friendly country to America. I mean, but that doesn't mean this is Al Jazeera. And I mean, well, look, this don't blame Kuwait for this one. Blame ISIS. Blame Al Jazeera. You know, that's where he was. He wasn't radicalized by Kuwait. He was radicalized in Kuwait. It was the internet. That's how they radicalize people and recruit people. I don't know. Maybe we just need to make more America is awesome videos or something. But or ISIS sucks because of this or something. We need to do an ISIS sucks because contest or something. I don't know. So anyway, one executed at Colorado after 1976, three waiting. Huh. Yeah, well, it takes forever to get all the appeals, all the automatic appeals and stuff. But is this the penalty phase? Because I don't think this is just the guilt or innocence phase. So if he's not guilty, if he's guilty, and they still have to do the penalty phase. I mean, this is just he didn't get off by claiming insanity, apparently, from what I'm reading here in the chat. Well, there's a power vacuum in the Arab world, for sure. There's a power vacuum in Syria. I mean, Assad started this thing when he started massacring his own civilians. He started, I mean, his father massacred the civilians in the same area, but we didn't have the internet back then, right? So they massacred all those Sunnis, and then in Homs, the same place where his father massacred all a bunch of Sunnis before, except this was on, TV and on the internet. So, and then Obama screwed up by making the deal for the chemical weapons instead of getting rid of Assad. Yeah. Well, so well, there is a world. The basic problem was in Syria. It started there, and because so in between Syria, Obama screwing up in Syria by settling for a bunch of chemical weapons stockpiles instead of just getting Assad out of there, and making a deal with Russia. Uh, then basically the Sunnis, the Wahhabists, started sending in Sunni terrorists, and there's so many factions in there at this point. You know, it's just like that Syria is an impossible problem to fix. It's not only a broken state, it's just uh like I said, I just run an armored through division through there and kill everybody. But I wouldn't stay there. I would just do a big drive by with a couple armored divisions, and then get just blast everything with a black flag on it out of there. And I'd probably blast the Syrian troops too. I can give you some news today about if you really want to talk about the Middle East. I know people hate that, but since this is directly related to the Middle East, and ISIS, and this is an ISIS inspired attack. Uh, our new friends who have their new nuclear deal in Iran, they lost their third general. Iran has had 3 generals killed in Syria. And the new one, the last one that got killed, they didn't want it to be very well known. One general was taken out a while back in Damascus, fighting. I'd take out Assad. Is what I take out. I take out ISIS. I take out Assad, and then I just keep rolling. Now, everybody knows where Assad lives. I mean, they could take him out with a drone. I mean, they don't even need an armored division for that. No, I just use the armored division on ISIS. But and yeah, I'd drop a drone on Assad and be done. Get rid of him. And I guess we don't want to get into. Don't need to piss off the faction. 1 second. Sorry, man. I've been going for 2 hours. Basically, just to finish my point, they lost 3 generals. Iran. They lost general. Iran lost a general fighting in Damascus. They lost a general in when they had an Iranian general working with Hezbollah, trying to set up a base right on across from the Israeli Golan, and Israel bombed him and took out a general. And then just last week, Iran lost their 3rd general, which was their top general in Syria, and who had been there for 5 years. And they were fighting in a city that connects Hezbollah to Damascus. There's a city that's controlled by the one rebel group. I don't know if it's Al Nusra or who, but the Hezbollah in Syria seem to have Syrian forces seem to have the upper hand, and they order the rebels to surrender in this one town that sits astride the road that the Syrians and the Hezbollah need, so they can Syria. That's how Iran gets their weapons to Hezbollah. Is they fly him into Syria, put him on a trucks, and drive him the missiles into uh, the Lebanon. And so there's a city that in there that that in a town that's kind of on the road and in the way, but it's controlled by the rebels. So Hezbollah works with but Hezbollah, those nice people who blew up the Marines in Lebanon. So the Marines hate Hezbollah. I don't know, but anyway, uh, so there's this general, and they issued an ultimatum to the rebels to surrender, and they he got taken out by a sniper, the Iranian general. So they just lost their third. He had been there for 5 years, commanding all the forces in Syria, Iran's forces, the Hezbollah forces, and the Syrian army, and he just got killed. So Iran's army sucks. They can't do anything. You think their army sucks. So they haven't been able to win in Syria. They can't do anything in that's Iran can't do anything right. And if we had somebody else beside Obama who wasn't such an idiot in there, I don't know. I don't know how to put it. Our president sucks. He's not dumb. He's a very smart guy. He's just not. He doesn't. He's kind of a utopian. It's a utopia that he thinks the world should be, and the dystopia that actually exists are two different things. And how many Marines have to die? Okay. Before we get. I mean, he was helping the Hezbollah target ISIS by helping them with their drones. He's helping Hezbollah, the people that blew up the Marines barrack in Beirut. And Marines at the at the recruiting station in Chattanooga aren't allowed to have guns to defend themselves. It's not on a military base. It's a soft target, and in 2009 they shot up a different recruiting center. AQAP shot up a different recruiting center. Or it was a guy who was in Yemen who worked with AQAP, who was in a prison with AQAP people. So this isn't the first time this has happened. So, so whenever a bunch of Marines take a few bullets for America and they don't even have guns to shoot back, that just pisses me off. So that's why I started this broadcast. It's not like a show or anything like that. So what's that you're saying, Dirt Dart? You have a good recipe. I saw you did a video about barbecuing ribs, right? I think I remember that. You'd have a video on your like smoking barbecuing thing. I'm just looking at the internal gun channels chat. If you're on the YouTube side, you probably wouldn't understand that. So trying to keep up with all the different chats and stuff. Yeah, yeah, Michiganders. I'm just like enraged. I don't even have the words, So I'm gonna order a pizza with as many stuff that Muslims aren't allowed to eat on it. It's like that's what I'm gonna do. Of course, that makes them not kosher, and I'm Jewish, so but whatever. So I'm gonna be, I think on Monday, lock and load. I'm gonna do a Hell on Wheels and Tavor's chat because I like Tavor rifles. Nice Israeli rifle. Thank you for urban combat. But anyway, yeah, and I guess just one more reason to exercise your Second Amendment rights. But I really feel like we got to do something because, uh, people don't really understand how, uh, people, when you say guns, most people are afraid because they don't teach them anything. When I have to go around teaching adults, that, the basics about guns, I mean, it's stuff that they should already know. Let's see. What are you saying, Dirt Dart? Ottawa police may guard unarmed military sentries in the Capitol. If somehow I think my computer would just melt down when, if I look at G Web's Instagram account, Besides, he does pizza. I thought he does. I'm still waiting for my drunken chat badge from him award. I want to still, because I had 6 margaritas one night in Foos's chat, and I think I deserve a drunken chat award. But anyway, so if you haven't checked out Gun Channels or on the YouTube side, check it out. Go to gunchannels.com and check it out. But we'll post a link, dude. I'll look. Look, I don't want to. I don't want to crash my laptop here. I already have a bunch of. I have the YouTube side going up. I have the Gun Channels chat going up, and I have the account hosting thing going up. So plus the broadcast page. So I'll look at it. After the chat's over. So Ottawa police may guard the unarmed military sentries in the Capitol. So the sentries need sentries because the sentries can't carry guns. Well, I don't really care about Canada. So I mean, no offense to anybody, no offense to Bob or anybody in Canada. Right. Well, I mean, the thing is, this wasn't on a base. This is a soft target. This is a recruiting center. It's a storefront. And so it's not a base. So if there's a rule that says they can't have it on, so you saying when you were in the army, they didn't even during the daytime, the guard gate, the guy didn't have a gun at the guard gate. What's he supposed to use? Harsh language or something? So they only had armed guards with guns after 6 p.m. So somebody put an AK on a pizza. That's an interesting topping. from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. there was a 2 patrol. So all you have to do is attack. So there were armed guards at the base between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. So all you have to do is attack between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. and then it's just stupid. Yeah, well, I'd hate to have a contest between whose policy is more stupid. Whose politicians are more stupid? Canada politicians or America politicians? That would be an interesting contest. We could have a Special Olympics just for that. Yeah, but the thing that just doesn't make sense to me is that that's not a military base. That's like a shop. That's like running any shop. You're allowed to carry a gun in your shop that you're working at, you know, to defend yourself. And these guys don't need the police to defend them. They're all very proficient. They're Marines. They know how to use guns. So. Canada can have shorty shotties. What's shorty shotties? Is that a term that I'm not familiar with off the top of my head? Well, I know what girls like. Girls like long barrel guns. Oh, you're talking about shotguns. That's one thing. The problem with Mad Max, he always had like that short shotgun that almost never worked. He like pull the trigger and it never worked. And like when he got into the fight with Furiosa, she rips the shotguns out of his hands, tries and shoots him with it, but it doesn't work. You know, she has to try and hit him with it. I have a shotgun that actually works, but it's a Benelli Supernova. So I really like the low recoil, federal low recoil subsonic ammo. I mean, you can just shoot that, and there's like hardly any recoil. So you know, as fast as you can use the pump action, that's as fast as you can throw out, shots. And it's really good in daylight. As far as I painted a red dot on the um, with some, I forget the name of it. Took it to the gun shop, local gun shop, and the guy threw on a red dot over the white dot that came with it. And when I was out in the sunlight up at the range, boy, that red dot really you could see it. But if you're indoors or in low light, the shotgun barrel's too long to really see it unless it's bright daylight. I mean, in which case it's perfect, you know. But I don't think I'm going to put a tritium sight on my shotgun for night. Why can't the guards be seen to have guns? I mean, aren't there banks that have like, you know, bank guards with guns, or if you go to there's an armored car, they have guns. I mean, police officers have guns. Why can't the armored military base have guns? It's just not politically correct to have a gun. I guess I'm going to spend the rest of my life being not politically correct. I guess that's okay with me. Somebody go out in the lobby and get what's that? It's just me in the chat, Backjack. Sorry, I put out links and stuff, but I just came on before anybody got onto gun channels because the shooting in Chattanooga just pissed me off. That I was just really upset, because basically the Marines aren't allowed to have guns, and 4 Marines just got killed because they aren't allowed to have guns in their recruiting center. So what you're looking at there is a bunch of shell casings where all those blue markers are, and the recruiting station says Marines, and all those bullet holes were from an ISIS-inspired attack. So, and naturally, the Marines aren't allowed to carry guns. Yeah. So the reason you can only hear one person on is because there weren't very many people on gun channels when I started this chat, because that's when the shooting happened. So I'm trying. This isn't like an entertaining. This isn't like an entertainment chat. That I guess will happen when everybody's on later. But this is just me ranting because I was so pissed. Because this isn't the first time that the military got blown away and they weren't allowed to have guns or not able to defend themselves. So politically correct politicians who insist that guns are bad. It's not just the enemy's fault. If you're stupid, whose fault is it? If you fall asleep on guard, whose fault is it? If you're on guard duty and you fall asleep, or you put people out there without guns, the fuck do you think is going to happen? Whose fault is it? The battleground is here. Here's the battleground. I can tell it's a battleground because you can see the bullet holes. You see all those bullet holes and shell casings all over the place? This is the battleground. But our guys aren't allowed to have guns. It looks like a battleground to me. So yeah, I usually only do my chats on Mondays. So this isn't like this is just I'm pissed. And I'm tired of gun-free zones, gun-free soldiers. I mean, we have gun-free soldiers. We're the only country to have gun-free soldiers. Well, except for Canada. Gun-free soldiers. We need to do a new Mad Max chat where it's just like let's outfit our soldiers and give them gear, except we won't give them guns. So. I mean, really, gun-free soldiers. We ought to put handcuffs on them too. Make it real easy for the other guys. Just handcuff them. That makes sense. No, we're just talking recruiting stations. We already talked about that, G-Webs. We already talked about that act. We're not talking about using soldiers to enforce law all over the country. We're just talking about in the recruiting stations. Yeah, we're not talking about the Posse Comitatus Act. No, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying at the recruiting station. Yeah, but they're not allowed to carry guns at the recruiting station. So, you know, and that's a soft target. That's the target. They were attacked in 2009 at the recruiting station. If our soldiers should be armed at the recruiting station because that's a soft target. It's not a base. We're not using them to enforce martial law. They should be able to have a gun to defend themselves, just like every other American. Well, it makes sense to you and me to arm our recruiters at a recruiting station because it's a new soft target that's been hit before. It's been hit twice now. How many? So that's 6 dead soldiers, 4 Marines, 2 Army, because at recruiting stations, and they weren't armed. This isn't just like on the base or Well, yeah, but we're just talking at the recruiting stations, and I'm not talking about. I don't know anything about how base security works. Maybe you guys can come on and explain it to me. But well, people seem to be losing guns independently of the military. I mean, that guy Sanchez says he just found it, and that his gun somehow, but it was stolen from a BLNR, Bureau of Land Management Resources, out of his car on a trip to San Francisco. Need to copy these links into the gun channels lobby. 1 second. Let's see. Get on the right page. It's tough running a chat. Gotta have all these freaking windows open. Copy. And one more copy, page to copy. Here I have to spell Chattanooga again. C-H... I've never tried to spell Chattanooga so many times in one day. Why couldn't they have hit a town with a smaller name? Yeah, so don't they like rotate out who has like the guard duty? I mean, they used to do that, and everybody had a turn at guard duty, but I guess you have to be an MP now or something. Well, yeah, but no, they didn't attack a base. All you need is one guard at a base to scare off a bad guy, apparently. Recruiting centers, they know they don't have guns, so it's a gun-free zone. You know, it's like a school. It's like schools are supposed to be gun-free zones, right? So they're safe. Make recruiting centers gun-free zones. Yeah, so if anybody wants to come into this chat and help me out, let me know. Yeah, if we have civilians at the gates to protect us, I don't know. So if you just tuned in and it seems like I'm talking to myself, I'm talking to the people that are typing stuff. Yes, it's amazing that I'm still going. How long have I been ranting about this last attack, terrorist attack? Has Obama said anything yet? Has the White House made a statement? I've been going for 2 hours, and I've been going for almost 3 hours. Hey, that's worth some kind of badge, G-Webs. Yeah. Sorry I can't be entertaining for 3 hours straight. Oh, he only comes on for black on white crimes. Or white on black crimes. I mean, he only comes on if there's a riot, I think, is what it is. Well, I don't, if 4 Marines are killed, it doesn't matter what color anybody is. It doesn't matter what color the Marines are. It doesn't matter what color the shooters were. I mean, doesn't he fly around in a Marine helicopter? Doesn't he have Marines guarding that helicopter? I mean, flying the helicopter. See you, Michigander. Thanks for stopping by. Boy, people on gun channels are getting into Instagram. I'll tell you. Yeah, when I first tuned in, the people on CNN were talking about the Posse Comitatus Act, as if the Marines were somehow, if they were armed, they would be in violation of that act. So that did make no sense to me. So I don't know. I don't think. I think they just need to change the Defense Department policy, because I can't believe that you'd need a special law or anything. They just need to let them carry a gun in the shop. That's all. It's just hard to believe that we live in a world where the Marines at the recruiting center can't, have a gun. Yeah, well, if I'm talking to myself, you might think I'm crazy, but it's the government that's crazy. Hi, Metham. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it feels like we're all talking to ourselves, man. You know. Yeah, I just came on and started ranting about the uh, Chattanooga shooting, because four Marines took bullets for America, and they weren't allowed to carry guns. So that just pissed me off to no end, because it happened before in 2009 in Little Rock, Arkansas. It was just two soldiers back then and not four. But yeah, I know. But catch bait's supposed to be a two-way street. He's supposed to, you know, cover the guys that are covering him. So if somebody wants to come on, I'll shoot him a link. Yeah, YouTube is weird. So, oh yeah. So yeah, I'll tell the story about just my ammo run, Metham. Yes, I put it in Colossal's chat. This is pretty funny. I went to go get some ammo at Sports Authority, because I had got sent loyalty rewards for $5.35 or whatever. So, oh well, I'll go pick up couple boxes of ammo or whatever. So I'm there for like 20 minutes at the ammo counter, and nobody's there, you know. And finally, um, I go to the front desk, the front checkout counter, and say, "Hey, man, nobody's at the." And there's other people there looking at stuff and looking at guns or whatever, and nobody's at the gun ammo counter. So I go to the front desk, and the girl there says, "Oh, I can't let you go behind to get the ammo, but I'll send somebody down." And so like 5 minutes later, somebody shows up. Finally, get like 4 boxes of 9mm BOG 124 grain, and a couple boxes of Remington 223 American Eagle. and that's it. And so I go to the front counter, and so I put the ammo on the counter, and the guy comes. There's a line, so a guy comes to take me to open up a second lane, and so I'm the first person there. So he starts scanning everything, and I have to give him first. I have to get the Sports Authority card out, then I have to get the uh, my credit card out. I start sliding stuff, and before, just as he's about to key it in, I'm like, wait, wait. This is like, shit. It's too late because it'd been so long waiting there, and nobody's at the counter that I forgot about the the fucking coupon. So right, it's funny, right? As the guy keys it, I'm like, wait. Anyway, one second. So then somebody else comes in behind me because they think I'm done, or two people get behind me because the other line is even longer, and so I say, well, you got to rekey it and cancel that out, and because I have a coupon, that you guys sent me, and so he's calls to somebody to cancel out the other order because he can't do it, and the other charge that he just went through for the ammo, and then the little girl at the counter says, "Oh no, coupons aren't good for ammo." And I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about?" So I get in a 5-minute argument. While people are in line, and so I just got a coupon from an email from you guys like last month, and I used it for like I think it was like $15 or whatever, or it was 2 months ago actually, but I said last month. And so after 5 minutes, she realizes that I was talking about loyalty rewards and not coupons, which you can use. So yeah, I mean, by the way, just as I scream, wait, all my credit cards fall out of my wallet and spill all over the floor. So then, so the manager comes over, a different guy comes over and, has to put in a key so he could cancel out the order without the, $5.35 discount. I wasn't going anywhere without my $5.35 discount. So, um, I mean, this is ammo we're talking about. I can't went there because they sent me a discount or a coupon for $5.35. So loyalty reward or whatever. So uh, meanwhile, after I pick up all my credit cards and stuff, then I have to go onto my cell phone and try and find the email from Sports Authority. And I had gotten into this YouTube argument with one of the crazy fools on Mauna Kea, protectors of Mauna Kea, up there protesting the telescope, and there's like 30 emails or 30 YouTube posts. You get a notification every time somebody replies to your post or whatever. And so I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes trying to find the damn thing. People wait in line, behind me. So I finally find it, and the cashier's just like, take your time. And I just, they're going through my phone. And I mean, I guess because there must have been like 30 emails or notes as back and forth arguing over Hawaiian sovereignty and in the old kingdom not existing for 120 years. Anyway, and then I finally find it. He gives me the discount, So I think it was there for an hour. But anyway, it was pretty funny, but it was really funny when I was screaming wait, and then all my credit cards fell over the floor out of my wallet. Because it's at the last moment I realized I had forgotten about the fucking coupon because I was there for so long because nobody was at the counter. And anyway, so I was there almost an hour to get 4 boxes of 9mm and 2 boxes of 223. But I got the ammo and I got my coupon discount, and so that's all that really counts, So because it was an ammo run. But anyway, so anyway, don't think I'm going to go all the way until the next guy comes on a gun channels chat. So see if there's anything happening in the gun channels lobby. Nah, Dead Horse wants some new piece of gear. And no, boy, that really pissed me off though when the girl said you can't use coupons on ammo. It's like I was that just like what? Are you kidding me? You know, especially since I used it before. It's the only reason I came down there. I mean, she was arguing with me for 5 minutes, telling me that you can't use coupons on ammo. And, you know, anyway, the people behind me in line were just waiting, so they had to eventually they had to open up a third line. So because I was buying ammo and I wanted my fucking discount, my fucking loyalty rewards. But hey, $5 is $5. You know, I might need that at some point in the future. Well, I didn't like say you know, I'm gonna report you to the ammo mafia because they don't shop at Sports Authority anyway. I've never seen the ammo mafia at Sports Authority, but you know, here, this is Hawaii. We just have to do the best we can. You know, we don't have group support. But anyway, yeah. So I just came on this chat because the started ranting because you know, anytime Marines take 4 bullets for no good reason, you know, that just pissed me off to hell. And I was so upset. I didn't have the words. You know, they should have had guns. This wouldn't have happened. And but you know, somehow I think no, I don't know if they're going to change this policy, but if they don't, they're idiots. Which, you know, we all knew that before anyway. But so they're probably going to talk about all of this in the next chat. So. And I'm just looking at the lobby schedule. I don't know. I don't think we have a. I think I don't think Yankee Marshall's in town, or so that's on the schedule for Thursdays at 9 Eastern Standard. But Stone Guy at 10 Eastern Standard Time is the next scheduled chat, and I'm sure he'll talk about it. But that's still a ways off, I think. And I just wasn't. I was too pissed to wait. I was just too fucking pissed to wait. You know. But anyway. So let me just see if anybody else said anything else in the chat. I think everybody is cooking dinner or something right now. But thanks for listening to me. You know, it's just I don't know what the right thing to do is, but all I know is that those guys at the recruiting centers, that's the new soft target because there's always military there. They're not armed, and they need to be because they're targets. They're sitting ducks right now. So it's like a perfect soft target for terrorists, and they need to be able to shoot back. And political correctness be damned. You know, we're just going to have to teach people about guns one person at a time and explain to them that the good guys, you know, good guys like the Marines aren't, you know, people you need to be afraid of having guns in the recruiting centers. So that's why I started this particular Chattanooga shooting thing, hangout, broadcast, gunchannels.com, rant, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I usually just do my broadcasts on Mondays, and that's it. But I was just really pissed because, it's like, hey, if you fall asleep on guard duty, it's not the enemy's fault if you die. If you send out your soldiers without guns in an area where they're a target, then it's it's not the enemy's fault. It's yours. You know, and this wasn't the first time that recruiting centers have been attacked. So by terrorists, and this one seems to have been an ISIS inspired guy too. So that's why I came on here and started ranting. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to go on. Just comments seem to have slowed down somewhat, but I was just pissed. So anyway, I hope to make it out to the range again really soon and shoot some more videos. Had a lot of fun with my Glock last time, and a couple other guns, and but hey, we're the good guys. We're the good guys. We're not the guys who you need to, you know, worry about having guns. It's the terrorists, man. It's people, and I don't know why. I guess I don't know why people that works and people get inspired by that. But that stuff on the internet says something about crappy education system, or just uh, I think people need to experience how bad it can be at the other parts of the world before they realize how good they got it in America, and that's kind of a hard thing to teach people because most grown-ups don't even get that, or at least a lot of them don't. But that's my 2 cents, and I have 2 cents because I saved $5.35 on my ammo run. So Method 88, exactly how much 22 do you have? That's the question that's on everybody's mind now today. You should do a contest, like, if you can guess how much ammo 22 Method 88 has got, you win some kind of prize. Because I bet it's a lot. So what is it like? It's got to be over 100,000 rounds, right? So in case anybody doesn't know, Method 88 is a part of the ammo mafia. It's just some guys who go out and buy lots of ammo because it's fun to buy ammo. Now, somebody bought on the ammo mafia bought some silver bullets, but I was looking at silver bars because they're, but when I've been watching the spot silver price, it seemed to bounce on $15 all day today. Yeah, that's a lot. Triple that, and that would be. Yeah, you would need some kind of weird scanning device to figure out how much ammo Method 88's got. But well, there's no point in counting when if you've got over, like, 300,000 rounds. So there's no, there's no point in really counting it, you know. Yeah, some people think it's wrong to hoard ammo, but I don't know. People go out, they buy ammo. It's fun. They make videos. You know, this is America. Ain't nothing wrong with it to me. Most people just aren't as good at it as they are. Well, I mean, silver peaked and it's at a 5-year low right now. Yeah, it used to be $4 or whatever, but I think the support is at like $14. It's bouncing off of $15. Looks to me like support's at $14, $9, and then $4. But so yeah, I've been looking at silver bars, but there's also you can also just if you don't want the bars, you could just if you have a trading account, they sell it on the Toronto. There's a iShares for silver that kind of tracks the silver chart on the called I think it's SVR or something like that. Trades on the Toronto exchange. So it used to be at $4 way back. I mean, look at the historical chart. Then it hit 50 and now it's back. It's the last 5-year chart. It's at a 5-year low right now at like I think it went down to 14.8 uh, just a couple days ago, and it's right at $15 last time I checked. So it might crash through support. Uh, so I'm keeping an eye on it. Might buy a few bars. Well, I've been talking for 3 hours straight, so it's hard to keep your voice going. So, is there any news from the ammo mafia that I should put out there before we end this particular 3-hour rant on the Chattanooga shooting? Uh, and any other final messages from? I think it's almost Friday. I think Dirt Dart has tomorrow. Dirt Dart's going to put out his Friday fix. I hope. See what guns everybody's got. And the ammo mafia has any news before I close this one down. Yeah, silver's definitely a $15 spot right now, so you can just buy a ton as much as you want on the iShares. There's a chart that mimics the uh, silver. But if you actually want the bars, the physical bars, then you got to pay a premium. You can buy it on eBay for that's where a good place to buy it. It's like a couple dollars over the spot price, and this price changes of the bars on eBay all day. Okay, yeah, Colossal had his new AR. All right, Dirt Dart is still with us on the gun channel side. No, I think Dirt Dart bailed. All right. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by and listening to me rant for about the Chattanooga chat. It just anytime four Marines take a bullet for America and nobody pays attention, and the president doesn't come out and say something, at least I'm gonna. It just pissed me off to no end, you know. And hope we get a new president that knows what the hell he's doing next time. So thanks everybody for listening. Thanks Dirt Dart. Thank all the Gun Channels guys. Thanks G-Webs at gunchannels.com. And thanks Ammo Mafia, Metham 88 for stopping by. God bless America and God save our Marines and all the rest of our military. And God bless America.